Greetings, Internet. This is Poser P. I'm back again with another tutorial in my Kurzweil programming series. So today what I want to do is I want to introduce KDFX. And before we get to KDFX, I'm going to just walk through real quickly some variations on a program. So there are lots of different ways to use KDFX. The way that I'm going to demonstrate how to use them today is to add a sense of realism and atmosphere to a program that would not be there otherwise. I kind of gave myself a challenge. I wanted to create a single layer piano. So only one layer of VAST, mono key map, and I wanted to try and get it to sound as close to a piano as possible. So we're going to walk through some programs that I did and just discuss them real briefly before we get to the KDFX part so that you can kind of hear the evolution of this thing. So 1250 here that I have loaded up. This is the default program. And this is just, literally if you hit 999 and edit, this is what you get. And so let me play some chords here. Okay, so that's the default program. And again, let's just go here real quick. You can see there's nothing in here. If you go to the key map, it's just this thing, right? Very vanilla. Okay, so the next thing that we could do is we change the key map. So that's what I've done. I picked 9, piano, 3 volume, easy, left. And this is what it sounds like. I'll do one key. So this has a more variation on the tone, depending on how hard you hit the key. And that's embedded in the key map. You can put a number of velocity layers and things in a key map. I think it's like 8 or something like that. But anyway, point being, so that was the first thing I did. All right, so let's start with a different key map, something that has more detail to it, because I didn't want to try and to fake or to program in VAST the changing of the velocity. Okay, so the next thing we did, add VAST. So this has various modifications to it. I'll just walk through some of them real quick. So in envelope control, I changed the release time just a bit. If I go to the ALG page, I've added a couple of sign plus blocks. So the purpose of these is to essentially emulate, it's not exact, of course, but it just gives a little bit of motion, I guess you could say, to the sound when you hear decay. So let's play a note. And if you listen to those decay tails, here, let me play the same note here. Okay, you can kind of hear where the loop point kicks in. You'll hear it here too, but there's a little bit of variation of sound. Just a tad. All right, it's very subtle. And that's kind of on purpose because I don't want to get too far from messing with the natural sound of the key map. I just want to add little bits and pieces here and there to make it sound more realistic. So the other thing that I did was, if you go to the mod page on this, for my string, okay, essentially I've got an envelope is controlled by attack velocity and it's routed to pitch. So as I hit a key harder, the idea is that it will go sharp. It will really pound that one. It will go sharp for just a moment, and then kind of the pitch will settle down with as the envelope decays. And that's exactly what happens if you're tuning a guitar. For instance, you strike the string, the pitch goes a little bit sharp. So when you're tuning it, you have to strike the string, wait for just a moment for the pitch to kind of settle, and then look at the tuner and say, okay, this is the pitch I'm playing, and you can make adjustments from there. So when the hammer hits a string, I figure kind of a similar thing happens in the piano. The pitch changes just a bit. Some of that's going to be captured in the key map. This is just to add some more and to have that be just a bit more pronounced. And again, it's not something you're necessarily going to hear yet. We'll get to where it's audible more than it is in here. Okay, so now this is where we get to KDFX after we've done about 5 minutes of video. let's go ahead and so we've got same thing, single layer piano, the Sine Plus box. Now let's go to the Prog FX page. Okay, NXT N board. So this is my effect. This is what it sounds like. Let me hold down the sustain pedal. Okay, so hopefully you can hear that relative to this, if I do the same thing with the sustain pedal. So this adds some dimension to it. And it makes it sound more like a piano. And that's exactly what I wanted this effect chain to do. So we're going to hit this. So we're going to use the insert effect here. And I'm going to hit edit. And that will take us into the KDFX editor. Okay, there's essentially 2 levels to this. There's this sort of master overview level, and then you can jump into each of these blocks. At the master level, you can put blocks in. Unfortunately, it's not like the other, like VAST, in that I can't make algorithms and put blocks in different arrangements and algorithms. It's all just kind of straight through. Maybe that'll change in the future. That'd be neat if it did, Kurzweil. Hope you're listening. All right. Although I imagine it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it'd be cool if it could happen. All right. So let's go ahead and hit edit. So I highlight the block that I want, and then I hit the edit button. And now I'm into parameters for these effects. All right. So the effects have different parameters. I've set these up just by ear. This is a chorus and a bit of delay. I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you before, but when I'm sitting at a piano and I hit a key and I've got the sustain pedal down, I kind of hear the sound kind of traveling back and forth across the piano. So from like right to left, left to right, and so on. So that's the purpose of that. It's really subtle. Again, it's not something that you're going to notice so much until you really kind of like lay into the keys, but it's part of the sound. Now, the second thing I did was I put in a soundboard. There's actually 2 in here, and I'll show you why in just a moment. We'll go edit here. The main thing that's different between the 2 is that for this soundboard, I picked a plate. And the reason why I did that is because the soundboard in a piano is metal. And so I figured that having a plate reverb as one of my quote-unquote soundboards would be authentic and would help kind of give the tone that sort of metal edge that a piano has, but not do so much of it. Because again, that's going to be something that's kind of captured in the sample information. But I wanted to emphasize it a bit. Okay, and again, we've got 3 levels of parameters. This usually, Para 1 is going to be your general overall parameters that apply to the whole effect. 2 and 3 are going to let you get into a whole bunch of different things that you can edit about the effect. I can't remember how far out these go, if they go more than 3 parameter pages deep on all the effects, but you've got a huge number of effects. I mean, it's hundreds of effects that you can add. And in that sense, well, in all the senses, I mean, Kurzweil's really raised the bar of effects on a keyboard. I mean, I'm trying to think of keyboards that have effects that are even remotely like this in terms of what you can do, and only some of the more recent workstations spring to mind, like say like the Kronos or something like that. Okay, so and I'll just show you this one real quick too. Again, this is a soundboard. Difference here is that I'm using a large room scaled down a bit, and this size scale can be adjusted to taste in order to sort of make the piano box bigger or smaller. That's its purpose in here. Is this is the wooden box. Okay, so we've got the strings against a metal soundboard that's sitting inside a wooden box. That's why I've used these 3 effect units. All right, so let's go ahead and just, oh, whoops, I don't want to exit out of here yet. I forgot to show you. On this main page, you have a number of things that you can do. You have funds, you have ASRs, you have LFOs. All of these things can be used as control sources for your effects. Okay, and the control source list for the effects is the master list. So for instance, you get global high key, global low key. You get global attack velocity. You get global random 1, global random 2. I'm using them here. And with these mods, you can then pick pretty much any parameter inside an effect and modify it using this stuff. So for instance, I'm doing the reverb or the soundboard effects. I'm adjusting the wet and dry based on whether or not I have the sustain pedal pushed down. So for instance, I have a little bit more of the metal and a little less of the metal, is what I'm calling it, when I hit the sustain pedal. But I have a little less of the box, a little more of the box when I push down the sustain pedal. I have a little bit more of the chorus effect, which is sort of adds a bit of motion to the strings, and a little less when I have the sustain pedal down because I don't need quite so much. These are all things that I just basically adjusted by ear. And so because of that, I now have the soundboard. Okay, and it kind of, to my ear, everything kind of joins together like this is a single piano. Okay, it's not necessarily sitting in a room, you're just sitting at the piano, hearing the piano. Okay, so that's effects, that's KDFX. Now I want to demonstrate sort of where we go with this next. All right, so I liked that key map that I used, and I thought it was cool. Okay, that's a pretty nice single layer piano. But here's sort of my gold standard, is this Grand Evans. Okay, it's a really nice sound. And when I hold down the sustain pedal, it comes together, you know, as a piano and everything else. Here's the thing about it, though, that I wanted to change. This is a stereo sample set, okay? So if I go here and I get to the piano layers, I have left and right. If you mic a piano like that, okay, you're going to get different information on the left mic than you're going to get on the right mic when you hit a string. And so it creates that stereo effect. But for instance, when I play this key up here and when I play this key down here, you hear that in both speakers more so than you would if you're sitting at a piano listening just with your ears. It's kind of hard to capture that really well. It can be done. There are ways to do it, I suppose. But for me, I wanted something that felt more like I'm sitting at a piano rather than this is a piano that was recorded with stereo microphones. So I took that sound. I kept this. This is a string layer. So if I hit SW and oh, whoops. Actually, let me, before I play this, let's pop out here. Let me just show it to you here. So nice. Very stringy, right? So we've got strings that come in, and that's what that layer is all about. So it's in here too, but the thing I've done here is I've turned off stereo. Okay, I have on the output pages of all of these, I've used this pan table so that I have I'm panning it across the keyboard the way that a piano would be, and I've added at the end my program FX here, this the soundboard. Okay, this is what this sounds like. To compare, we'll pop back down here. Okay, in just a moment I'm going to play these back to back to backs with one of the built-in demo sounds, because I'm not a piano player, and you'll hear a much better showcase of what these all sound like. But when I put down the sustain pedal, yeah, so I was able to use that keymap and use the programming that I presume Dave Weiser, who is awesome, by the way, has done to create this Grand Evans. And I've taken it and I've modified it a bit. I've added in my own sort of special sauce. And the result is I get this piano out of it that now sounds more like I'm sitting at a piano rather than a well-recorded piano in stereo. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm just going to start here and we're going to play through each of these. We'll start with Grand Evans and then we'll go up. We'll come back to Grand Evans and then we'll play Grand Evans PK. So you can get a sense of the evolution here that we've gone through by doing all of these different things. Okay, let's start. Okay, I just want to point out one last thing on this. So this is, I imported into this Grand Evans program also that the final layer, or the final single layer patch that I ended up with adds another layer in here, and I brought its level down a fair amount, added a little bit more velocity tracking so that it can do things like this. So let me hit some low keys really hard so you can hear it. Okay, let's compare that now to Grand Evans. Okay, we have a bit more twang, I suppose, and it's kind of there in the samples too. But by adding in that second layer, which has, or that extra layer, which has that detuning and stuff like that, I get this other string in essence in the piano that these samples can play off of, and it helps a bit with the dynamic response. And to make it sound more, to my ears, like real piano, slightly out of tune real piano perhaps. But anyway, I am not a piano expert, but I happen to like that particular sound. Okay, so hopefully with this information you can take what you have learned and apply it to your own programming and come up with things that you like and discard the things maybe that you don't like about what I was showing you today. I'm going to do something a little bit different from now on with my tutorials. I'm going to be posting them at ksetlist.com. I'm going to wrap up all this stuff here, these programs, into a PC3 file and upload it there so that you can download these and play with them. And that'll give you that soundboard effect that I made. In this way, we can hopefully cover a lot more ground in a single video because we're going to start doing more complex stuff. And to go from boot up to the end product would take 40 to 50 minutes. And I don't want to do that. I mean, we're already pushing 20 minutes on this video. So to keep these relatively short, I'm going to do that. And also just to give back because so many great, wonderful programmers have contributed over the course of Kurzweil's history awesome free things. That's part of my motivation for making these tutorials. And as part of that, I want to provide some resources to you also that you can use to continue that tradition and to make your own stuff. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.